Gaming is dead, man, and I'm going to present you with a question of how often do you buy a game and then at one point just say, wow, that game was worth my $60 purchase of my hard-earned money or my parents' money or whoever decides to pay for your video games? Because as someone who is an adult with a job who shells out $60 or more to these multi-billion dollar companies, I feel like I'm getting fucked. It's at this point where I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth every single time I decide to drop $60 or more on a game because everything feels incomplete. And I was playing Halo Reach the other day, and this is what kind of sparked this kind of thought in my head of playing Halo Reach and going, wow, this game is actually very complete. At least at the time in 2010, this game was very complete. Had an amazing story, had a great multiplayer, amazing customization, firefight, forge. Guess what? I didn't have to wait until Season 1 that would come out in June in order to play it all, which was amazing because now all of a sudden you turn around and look at games like Battlefield 2042 that are basically Battlefield take a shit on my chest, and that's pretty much what it is. DICE, as a developer, just points the finger. I know a few of you have pointed out that you're tired of hearing about me bashing on 2042, and that's fine. I'm just pointing out some of the flaws. Halo Infinite, for instance, lacked tons of content. Yes, it was a free-to-play game and you had to buy the campaign, but for the sake of saying it, there is not enough content. There's no forge, there's no co-op mode, there's nothing. It's just a bland vanilla game of just a okay campaign and a pretty okay multiplayer. Originally, when the multiplayer first came out, I was excited, I was happy, but now games, it's just in general, feel like they're not shipping out. Call of Duty even. Probably the last complete Call of Duty that I played was probably Call of Duty Ghosts. That at least I feel like. Maybe Advanced Warfare. Sorry, I always get those two mixed up. Those two seem like pretty much somewhere around there was the last time we got a real complete Call of Duty where it didn't seem like it was a half-assed story, half-assed zombies, half-assed anything. And I don't know what happened. I think it's just at this point, I do know what happened. We became too complacent. And I've said this a few times on the channel, and I feel like people have gotten too complacent with this idea of, oh, well, they'll fix it later. And no, you shouldn't be happy with a developer fixing it later. I mean, you spent your money, or your parents spent their hard-earned money on this massive pile of garbage. Imagine, Picasso did a painting, and then did half a painting, and all of a sudden was like, I'll finish the rest of it later, but you're going to admire this half-assed piece of shit art that I just did for you. People would, I don't know how people would react then, but people would probably be like, wow, that's terrible. And I don't know why we're just so complacent with this idea of, half-finished products. It's not it's like service. It's a service industry. The developers, the publishers, they're in the service industry. We are consumers. Granted, all of us are in some sort of service industry, one way or another. We're always in the customer service industry, no matter where you end up going. But in theory, it's ridiculous that we are just so happy. It's like going to a store or going to a restaurant. You go to a restaurant and your food's wrong, you're going to be pissed. I hope you're not yelling at a poor, innocent worker for getting something wrong that might have been out of their control, but for the sake of it, again, it's just something you should be like, no, I'm not happy with a turkey sub when I ordered a steak. It doesn't make any sense to be okay with that. You're not going to be okay with it, so what's the difference between that and a video game? If there's features missing in a game, that's a big problem. The developers don't have an excuse to say, oh, it'll come out later. Using Halo again as a whole entire reason. Actually, let's go back to Battlefield, because I feel like that's the easier one to make fun of. But you go to Battlefield 2042, for instance. They aren't doing Season 1 until, sometime in the early summer, and people seem to be okay with that. I don't understand why people seem to be, okay with this whole idea of, oh, yeah, I've waited so much time after paying $60 for more content after having no content for months. Apparently there are rumors that they're just moved on and they don't care anymore, and that the whole development team is working on another Battlefield game which will come out next year. But to me, it's just stupid. For another thing that I want to point out is that MW2 2022 apparently has ass loads of help on the game right now, so I'm fully expecting this to be one of the best Call of Duty games to ever be created, meaning no skill-based matchmaking, perk system. I'm expecting the best perk system we've ever seen, meaning pro perks, a great campaign, a lot of weapon customization, character customization on day one. I'm expecting a ton of things. That's basically what I'm saying here, because you're throwing money and developers at it. And that's the thing, is like, I understand the concept of things have become more expensive as the new consoles have come out, and it's probably harder because you have all these different graphics and different, I don't know, softwares that you have to run and stuff like that or like to develop on. And to me, I understand that, but I also don't see the point in then you announcing something and then it being a half-assed product. So again, let's use another example. Let's say Cyberpunk 2042, or not 2042, Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever. That game, when that came out, people were pissed because it wasn't the game that they expected, but the developers kept saying, well, this isn't ready at all for anyone to play. Okay, completely fine, I understand that, but people seem to be pissed about the idea that it kept getting delayed. I'd rather have a game that's delayed and ends up taking longer for them to actually put out versus a game that ends up, I don't know, being a piece of shit and then being a piece of shit for months and months, and then I end up looking like an idiot who spent $60 on a game that pretty much didn't matter worth a damn. A game like Star Wars Eclipse that was announced this year. So, or this past year? I don't know, who cares? That game was announced, but we just found out, like within the last maybe month or so, that the game was never ready to be announced, and that trailer that did come out was only just for like, to bring new developers in. It was to get people amped up, and then this could be like a very far out dream that may not even happen. They may not even be able to do it. So my point is, for developers, a few things. I don't think you should announce your game until you have a surefire product that is ready to get shipped to the floor for people to play and is ready, set to go. You're gonna have bugs. I understand that. It's hard to play test when you're going on when you're basically opening the floodgates to millions of people. So you see it with Call of Duty every year, whatever. You're gonna have glitches and bugs. I understand that on day one. It's inexcusable when you have, say, Sledgehammer going on vacation for 3 months and all of a sudden the game is a fucking disaster for an assload amount of time and nothing ever gets patched. And then all of a sudden we're months in and they're still recovering from the fact that they never patched anything. So that's my point. Like, I want the developers to basically release or announce their game at a proper time, have enough content, and just do their job. But that doesn't seem to be happening because, again, we as players are too complacent with this idea of just, I don't know, bad games. And that to me is very frustrating because I was actually, a lot of this conversation was sparked from a coworker I was talking to today. Sorry. Was talking to a coworker today about it, and he was basically fighting me and saying how I'm just an angry, bitter person, which is true. I'm not disagreeing with that. I am a very angry, bitter person. But also, my point is the exact point I've been saying throughout the video. Developers are screwing us. These multi-billion-dollar companies are screwing us, or multi-million-dollar companies are screwing us because we just let it happen. So you should stop letting it happen. Now, as someone who only pre-orders like one game a year, maybe two, which is Call of Duty, it's kind of hard for me to say I'm not doing the wrong thing because I don't play many other games. But I think it's, for me, like Modern Warfare 2 2022, I will not buy another Call of Duty game for a pre-order if I feel like I just got ripped off with Modern Warfare 2 2022. And that's a completely fair thing to say. That is going to be my final straw. I don't think I can pay for a game that I honestly don't think was worth the money. So, anyway, that's it. That's me bitching into a microphone. Do you think gamers are too complacent? I am curious what people feel about gaming and if it's dying or if it's, maybe I'm a bitter soul, but I think the gaming world is in a really bad spot right now. And I think it needs to get better. And that starts with developers kind of having their product ready to ship and when they actually, announce it, not far off. And then all of a sudden by the release point, they just ship it out like Call of Duty every year, ships it out, and then calls it a day, and then they say, we'll patch it later, because that's not okay. You're paying money. You are a consumer. You are the one that is in the service industry. You are the person they are supposed to service with their product. So you should be pissed off with that. But I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Let this be an open discussion. Do you think I'm bitter as a person, or do you think it is a little ridiculous that developers, these multi-million-dollar developers and companies, are absolutely hosing us every single year with these crappy games, and how do you think it should get better? Let me know in the comments as to what you think. I appreciate you guys watching and hearing me vent about something I've been so frustrated in talking about because I've wanted to talk about it for so long. So anyway, bye.